don't think you guys know this also. So,
I've just started
Uh,
recording, so don't worry. We will edit it.
no, no, no. Let's start then.
Yeah,
If you're recording it, then let's not waste
yeah.
any professional time. All right. Hi, good morning, and welcome to today's session about pool to profession. And of course, we have our guest speaker today who's made swimming, the pool, her profession. So she not only swims, but she also empowers a lot of people to get into swimming, and that's her profession. Just like any other corporate organization or a startup that we work or we run, there are lots of things that Sucheta deals in a day's job, right from dealing with different kind of people, different sets of regulators, different country, environment, and the list goes on. I'm sincerely grateful that she chose to be with us today and share with us how resilience in her profession really matters the most. And remember, in emotional intelligence, resilience is one of the steps. When you're aware of yourself, you're aware of others, you also are bound to be resilient because you know the purpose and for what you're doing. So, with immense happiness and gratefulness, Sucheta, we are so happy to have you to walk us through your life journey, experiences, and maybe even anecdotes to empower a lot of people who will be watching this video. And interestingly, we are live right now. And other than being live, we are recording it to use it for our YouTube that will be shared to a lot of students, existing employees who are working in organizations, and women who have taken a break and want to come back to work. I think this is really going to help all of us. So, saying that, I'm going to give it to you so that you can talk a little bit about yourself. And then I'm going to request Meghna to ask you a few questions and then take it forward from there. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Vanita, Meghna, Aishwarya. I mean, really, it's really nice to know what you're doing because, to be honest, some things people are not really aware of, and some things people really don't uh, give it too much, pay too much attention to what you do because everyone thinks that emotional intelligence is weakness. You know what I mean? Not too many people want to be open about what emotional intelligence is. They don't want to show emotions because they think showing emotions is a sign of weakness, which is something people really need to get over. Like even people say failures are weaknesses. They don't realize that failure actually is what bring makes you much more stronger, and that is how people need to start being aware of it, start being, you know, accepting the fact that it's okay to take in emotions, it's okay to show emotions because it doesn't make you a weak person. It just makes you makes you more receptive to things, makes you open to learn more things and allow people in. So what you're doing is really incredible, ladies, and honestly, it's a real pleasure to be here with you. Vanita, you already said a couple of things about me, but in bigger picture, I started swimming at a very young age, and that is something we did as an extracurricular activity. It started doing something as a sport to keep discipline, to learn sportsmanship, to learn teamwork. That is how sports actually is for anybody today, and that is something that I learned at a very young age. And starting off with that, it was a beautiful, lovely journey. It wasn't something that I would say I 1000% enjoyed. Yes, it was like, oh, I don't want to do this. This is so much for a child, because I had to balance school and then swimming. So it was a wide spectrum of things, but it gave me a lot. It taught me a lot as a child, which is something that I have with me even today, which is sportsmanship, the spirit of teamwork, how you respect and how you actually get people involved, get more people into the spectrum. So it's something that I really enjoy, and it's something I deeply profoundly love today. And coming to it turning out to be a profession was something that I really never expected. you know Swimming was never something I thought would transpire from being just a sport that I did as a child and turning into what I'm doing today as a, I would say for me, it's been a successful, awesome profession, and that is what I actually truly believe in. It's come to today. When you actually talk about resilience in a career, um, as a career, what do we really look at? We do something that we're good at, right? We're looking at opportunities to grow. We're looking at ways that we can enhance our skills or talent that we have. When we want to do something, a lot of people that I know are just working because they just need to work and break bread at home. That is what work is for a lot of people. But when you, in terms of success, it's very specific and it's very different to each individual. What success means to them, it may mean having a big house or driving a big fancy car. For some it may be having designer bags and big diamond rings on their fingers. So success is different for everybody. But when I talk to people and I tell them that you do what you do because you need to do it, it's not necessary that you love it. But when it comes to me, it's my endless love. Swimming is Swimming has not only got out the best and worst in me, it's something I so deeply love. I can't even start to tell you, like, the sacrifices you need to make, the kind of discipline that you need to have in your life. It's it's a lot. The dedication and commitment. Some most mornings you get up, I would wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go swimming. But you just get yourself up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you show up. That is it. Everything just changes from there. It's just getting up and showing up. Sometimes, you make up excuses. It's like, oh, my back hurts or my tummy hurts. But we all have starting problems. But once you get up and get there and do it, it completely changes. It just so the water is everything to me. It is something that I connect with. It is something that is wholesome for me. So turning that love into a successful career is has been tough, but it is something that I love and I'm so deeply passionate about. So nothing can actually waver me from that. So I would say that is resilience for me. Nothing has wavered me. Uh, People talk, people try things, etc. But the point is, whether you're willing to let it get to you or you don't let it get to you, it's how you basically take it. You know, it's like sticks and stones. It what do you want to take off it? But at the same time, I also believe that uh, as a swimmer, I am probably blessed and lucky that I just had the talent and skill as a child when I grew up. As a child, when I was born as a child, I probably just had the talent and skill. So it was just that my father just nurtured the skill, nurtured the talent that I had, and got me to where I am. To me, swimming is really not a sport per se, but it's a very emotional thing for me. My successes and failures may be a lot in balance, but it's a very emotional thing for me. It's more emotion for me than my mind. Doing what I do, loving what I do, enjoying what I do, it just basically comes from the heart, which is so important for me. And it is something that people need to start understanding, that sports or an athlete is not necessarily doing something for your mind and body. It is very deep rooted. It is so love related for me. And I think people need to start looking at what they do with more love and passion. Yes, we are dedicated to our job. Yes, I wake up in the morning, I have meetings, I have emails. There are a lot of things that we actually do job related, but how many of us can actually say, I'm doing it because I love it? How many of them wake up in the morning and say, oh, I have to send this email. I want to send this email. I'm looking forward to this meeting? So that is something that we need to start being, doing it for doing it because you love doing it, not because you have to do it because you have to wake up and feed your family, or be out wearing the best clothes. And again, each to their own. But I would say, if you love something, there is nothing that you would actually back out from, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful it is. someone actually asked me that day, so Cheta, it's raining, are we still swimming? I said, honey, you're not made of sugar. You're not going to melt in the rain. We're getting into the water now, you know? So the awareness that people, the questions people come up with can be, can be funny at times. But the thing is, you need to understand where they also come from. They're like, oh, it's raining, I can't go swimming, you know what I mean? But that is how it is. And I'm starting a learn to swim summer camp uh, on Monday. It's a new venture for me, apart from the foundation that I run, the Open Water Swimmers Foundation. So it's really exciting because here I get to teach kids how to swim, which is something I love, because the kind of energy they bring, the the want to learn, it's so incredible. And they're like, ma'am, it's so the energy actually wants you to want to teach them. It wants you to get up in the morning and go there and be like, hi, this is what we're going to do today, this is what we're going, this is our class for today. The energy is incredible they have. So that is another thing that I actually love about the entire, the whole realm of swimming. It's because there's so many things you can explore. It's not that me as a swimmer alone. It is me able to, share my knowledge, share my passion for swimming with the generation of today. Tell them it is just not swimming because you have to do something for the summer. It is a life skill. One is it's a life skill. Two, you never know the talent the child has to, grow up and be a swimmer tomorrow. You never know. Uh, and in some way or the other, it brings in them a certain discipline. It brings in them teamwork, understanding, learning together, not in a classroom, but outside, doing something that is not mandatory. In school you have to do, like, it's, you have class one, period 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then you have to fit in things in between. Here you're doing something out of the scope. You never know where the child would turn up. A child may be an incredible musician, incredible singer, incredible artist. That is where it starts off from. Unless, you get out there, put your child in, or even you can try it yourself. You never know that there's something that was so suppressed, at that age, suddenly comes out, and you're like, wow, I'm a fantastic swimmer. I'm a great athlete. So it's something that I'm doing with this learn to swim now, that people can do this also. It's never too late to start something new. It's never too late to try something new. You may be 50 years old, you may be 60 years old, but why not get out there and try something new? It's something I want to put out there. To get more people, that means success for me. you know Inspiring people to come out and try something new, no matter the age. Bring that energy. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, because I have classes from 6:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. I have a full day. So you know they can come by anytime. And getting them there every day with a smile, not saying, oh, I got to do this again. Coming there and say, Cheta, what are we going to learn today? What new are we going to do today? That is success for me. In this in It's a beautiful thing to get more people involved. It's a beautiful thing to get people in a space where they feel comfortable, which is the most important thing. How you can make them feel comfortable, whether it be out in the open water with my foundation, Open Water Swimmers Foundation, or whether it be in a small little pool, or learn to swim. I want everybody to come and say, let's do this, chalo, karenge kuch. That is so important for me, because I know what it feels like as a human being to wake up in the morning and say, let's go swimming. I understand that emotion, I understand that feeling, which is so important, because that is when you keep an open mind. That is when you're willing to learn. That is when you're saying, okay, let's do something new. And I like that feeling when I see some of my students showing up at 5:30, even when they slept like at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock at night. They come and say, "What new are we going to do today?" That defines success for me. You know, Irrespective of my personal successes, watching other people come there and succeed at the same platform that I do, it is so good for me. So there's one swimmer I was saying, come on, you got to swim faster, you got to swim faster. He said, Sucheta, we're going to get there. I said, when you beat me is when I'm going to retire. You know, it's I want my students to be as good or better than me. That is what I want. And I want them to also feel that same passion, that, like Vanita, you're talking about resilience. I want them to feel that thing that they will do anything to get there and anything to get faster than me. So I'm like, bring it on. It's a healthy competition. It's not unwavered. It's not a wavered competition. Here, it's like everybody's swimming together, getting faster, getting better. That is another form of success for me. Watching my own students getting faster and better, doing more than what I'm doing already. That is that is another form of success. That is another form of them showing me that I'm resilient to anything, Sucheta. They have good days, they have bad days, but they show up. You can see them with like puffy eyes, of like, I'm here, but they have shown up, which is more than anything that you could account for. Be there, show up. It is, again, so many words of success I would define as me as a coach, me as a teacher, me as a trainer, me as a swimmer. uh, any of these things I would talk about, each has their own successes that make me so proud every morning. And it
Oh,
makes me so proud when I go to sleep at night. It is watching them grow. And I'm seeing
wow.
them change into better people
Mm.
and slowly opening up and talking about other things also. So when I
Oh,
know someone's going through something at home, so when I know someone's having a tough time at work, they're able to open up to me and talk to me about it. So then I know, it's not about sympathizing or empathizing with them, it is understanding,
correct.
which is so important. Uh,
So,
that again is another form of success for me. So in my career, in every aspect of my life, there's always success, there's always failure, but it
mm,
never dislodges me from the fact that coming together, being open about things, sharing,
yeah,
and understanding at the same time is is incredible, because the sacrifices and the dedication and the commitment they have somehow is on par with the same feeling that I have.
wow.
It is. It's incredible because I have students who've been with me for about 7, 8 years now.
Mm.
The reason they stick on is because they understand that she's just not talking. She knows what she's talking about. As a coach, as a swimmer, as a mentor, as an
Mm.
inspiration, I understand where they're coming from. I understand what they're saying. Therefore, they've been with me for so long. And that is a massive success again for me. So there's so many things. Even as a daughter, my parents are like, okay, she's not married, but at the same time they see what I'm doing. That is another massive success, to see my parents proud of me, you know
Mm.
doing something different, being different. That is another massive success for me. So I would say this profession for me is marked with a lot of success, and praying and hoping with blessings that there'll be many, many more to come too.
I'm
Yes,
sure. Yeah,
this is me.
beautiful. In fact, I don't know if you realize, but for the last 15 minutes that you spoke, you would have used at least few hundred times the word show up. And I think that is such a lovely, I would say, a synonym for the word resilience. Because in resilience, it's about just not, bringing that courage to stand up, but it's also taking that baby steps to show up every day, irrespective of what happens. And you beautifully brought that out in our conversation. So I'm going to start with few questions, Sucheta,
Hmm.
so that it could help our audience get your perspective. The first question I have is, how do you mentally bounce back from a poor race or an unexpected failure? Maybe some examples you could quote as well.
Yes, several examples actually. I thought, like I said, I'm actually quite old and I'm not married and I don't have children. So some point at that time, my parents would like, get married. They would say, we go for so many weddings, we're going for so many. we see people with their grandchildren, we see them so happy. uh, I thought I was a failure as a daughter, that I wouldn't live up to my parents' expectations of me getting married and having, a family, or, giving them grandchildren. I thought that was a failure on my part as a daughter. But then when I started swimming and I got to where I am, oh, that angle has completely changed, Vanita. That is something I would say has broken the social strata of, this is your, nth achievement. You have to get married and have a family. But now I switch that around, and I'm a swimmer, and people call me the aqua woman of India.
Wow.
That is changed completely for my parents, from just knowing that this is where it ends, having a family, to me being a swimmer and so many more I can achieve. I can keep going on swimming and swimming and swimming, and making them more proud. So I would say that failure has changed into a success, uh, for my parents. Just
Mm.
watching them and seeing them be so proud of me, I think that is a massive success bonus, I think, on my end. I'm earning brownie points
Absolutely.
here.
I know, and I think you also broke the norm, right? Because in India and in many countries, I've seen this trend that you come to this stage, the most important thing is like, let's get married. You get married, you have children, and you see it becomes your responsibility to see them successful. It's like a never-ending circle that we get into. And I'm so glad and proud that you have defined a path which you wanted and not set by norms like societal or family or even friends for that matter. I think choosing what you want to do and living by it is a great example of how you really look at things. And thank you for sharing such a personal anecdote, um, in terms of failure. I also want to ask you, Suchita, because in sports, injuries are bound to happen. You can't escape them. And swimming again is no less than any other sports where you can get injured. So I want to know, what strategies do you use to stay motivated during tough training phases or injuries? And like just like in corporate world, right? There are setbacks, market conditions, organizations, vision
True.
changes. Changes keep happening. So how do you strategize? Do you have a action plan or something that you do?
Uh, One thing, as like I said, I'm really blessed with my father being a coach, and my father is known for the best swimming technique coach. So
Mm,
once you have the best technique, you basically would be, I wouldn't say 100%, but I would say that's 99% injury free. They say a
mm,
swimmer's shoulder, etc. It's just that you're doing it wrong. So technique is so important in how you actually approach, to be injury free. Plus, it's not only that. I also studied. I'm also an NIS swimming coach at my certification. So there also I learned, the exact exercises you need to do as a swimmer. So you just
mm.
need to, follow that through, and not go around and start something new, or the new age exercises, because again, it works for me. What works for me? Sticking with the old school thought, that works for me. So that keeps me, uh, most of the time, injury free. But yes, I mean, it's just the recovery portion that I need to work on. But apart from that, yes, it keeps me away from injury.
Well, that's a very nice point you brought about, about knowing the technique. And I think even if I convert this into a corporate world or any professional world, what is really needed is knowing your strength, what are you really good at,
Yes.
and continuously keep upping the game. Because
Yeah,
what you learned in school, college, or many years ago is not going to help you to be in this moment or take it forward again, right? So I think knowing that technique, sticking by it, and having a recovery phase, I think is a very interesting one for people in corporate as well. Thank
true.
you for that. I think that's really brilliant one. I also want to check, what role does goal setting play in maintaining resilience as a swimmer? How important it is to have goals and how important it is to see it follow through.
It's like any other profession, Vanita. Any other profession. Like you say, okay, when you join a company, They'll be like, okay, tomorrow I want to be, a team head. Tomorrow I want to be, uh, the group head, and then tomorrow I want to be, the president and CEO. So you keep having these, steps that you want to keep going in life. It's the same thing here as a swimmer. So now I know, as I have probably done like what my maximum I have done is about 81 kilometers in distance, but the longest
Mm.
I have swam is 19 hours. So now I know I
Whoa.
got to keep upping it. So those are
Mm.
my goals. So my next swim will probably be 100 kilometers. The swim after that will be 120. So you got to keep upping
Mm.
the game because you're not only testing yourself, you're actually pushing yourself to see how far you can go as a human being.
Correct.
You know,
Mm.
how far you're able to push your mind, how far you're able to push your body, and
Mm.
what is it going to take. You're willing to sacrifice a lot. Well, it's there's nothing in life comes easy. There's always
True.
sacrifices,
Yeah.
and then you pick and choose what you want to do, right?
Mm.
So people only see the successes, but not too many
Mm.
people see the choices or the sacrifices you've had to make to get to there. you know
Absolutely.
I may probably even swim like a 30 kilometers, but it may be one of the most difficult waters, the most dangerous waters. So
Yeah.
would I pick doing a 30 kilometers in the most dangerous waters, risking whatever you take, doing whatever it takes, or would I swim like 100 kilometers of, ease and not, it's not easy, but I'm saying, you know, so what would I pick? An easy
Mm.
water to swim, or would I swim in the most dangerous water in short distance?
True.
So those are things that you decide, and those are things that keep me going, because that
Mm.
keeps making me push myself to boundaries that I wouldn't think I would do or can do, but getting there and doing it was is when I'll know that yes, I'm capable of doing it.
Absolutely.
And
Wow.
that,
That also brings
yeah.
me, to the question, what advice would you give young professionals, who are just finishing college and getting into jobs or looking for jobs, and about handling rejection or failure based on your swimming journey?
See, I think today's generation per se, Vanita, because we're so open to the internet, we are so open to easily able to access anything. It's just there at at your fingertips. It's also the kind of peer pressure these days. Everyone
Mm.
just tends to follow. So
Right.
okay, so it's like okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and that is what's going to be next.
Mm.
Nobody is willing to get out and try something new. They're like, okay, this is the path I have,
Mm.
this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do. Nobody is willing to try something different.
Mm.
Nobody is willing to risk it.
So,
They don't even
mm.
want to try. They're like, no, this is a
Yeah.
safe job for me. Either let me get into the state government or let me get into the central government job. It, they're looking for stability. They don't want
Mm.
to try anything different. And
Yeah.
the kind of salaries these kids get these days, you know the idea of doing anything different, like okay, I have a stable job, so that is
Mm.
it for them. They're just looking at
Mm.
stability. Nobody wants to try something new. Guys, I have
Yeah.
been in the corporate world, and I got out of it, and I'm doing something I love. I took a chance. I took a huge leap in faith, not
Mm.
knowing whether I'd be successful or not. But
True.
again, I was resilient. I was like, bring it on. Let me see what Mother Nature throws at me, and I'm going to go through. So
Mm.
take a leap of faith. You never know what's going to come your way unless you take a chance.
Yeah, and I think if it doesn't work your way, you can still go back to stability and safety. But at least giving it a
Absolutely.
try makes you feel that, hey, I gave it a try. It's not that I never did it. I gave it a try, it didn't work out,
True.
but now I need to consider various other factors, like
True.
maybe taking care of a family. But I think I like the way you said that, be that adventurous, take that first step, at least to experience something before you go ahead.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so something, Sujata, over the last 2, 3 years, especially after COVID, one of the most talked topic in corporates is mental wellness and self-care. So I want to know, how do you balance high performance expectations with self-care and mental well-being?
Uh, okay, you probably know that if you exercise, you get happy hormones.
Yeah.
That is it. That is it. Really. They say, exercise, walk 10 minutes, walk 20 minutes, or do yoga for 10 minutes. You just, making your body get out happy hormones. That is it.
Yeah,
That's you're a happy person, you're a happy person. It's
yeah,
you end up being a positive person. Irrespective
true.
of what is thrown at you, you'll be like, like whatever. Because you're just such a happy person. You don't have time for negativity coming your way. And you don't and because you're such a positive happy person, the negativity won't even influence you
Yeah,
unless you let it, unless you allow yourself. See, it's a very personal individual thing. If you allow it to affect you, it'll affect you. If you don't allow it, it won't. And just
true.
just go swim or run for a while and you'll get all happy hormones. You're sorted. Trust me.
Yeah, I know. But other than swimming and exercise, is there anything else that you do to, have?
Yes.
I know you have a huge friend circle.
No, see, that's another misconception, Vanita. So see, I don't want to be pompous or I don't want to boast, but it is lonely in the top.
Yeah, that is true. Mm,
Uh, I do know a lot of people, but I would say I just have a handful of people that I actually would even talk to, and even a smaller percentage of that handful of people I actually share anything with.
mm,
Uh, it's again, it's knowing. I've actually figured out that just hanging out with swimmers all the time, because you're swimming all the time, you're hanging out with them all the time. The buck just stops there. You just don't talk about anything else. And then
yeah.
I have people I go out with who are non-athletes. Oh my, that's like a you know it's a sight for sore eyes, because I'm not talking about swimming. I'm talking about other things. I'm not talking about, oh, I got new swimsuit, I got this. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other things. So
Mm,
it's again knowing where I can talk about what, and if I'm willing to really like get out there and let my hair down and just dance the night away. So
mm,
it's just knowing who you can actually be real with, because that's when again you pick up energies.
yeah.
So you're just done with all that negativity and you just want to find like a happy spot. And again, I do what I want to do. I just pick and choose where I want to go and who I want to hang out with. So
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, they do see me differently, of course. But again, like I said, it is quite lonely in the top.
I think that's a very pertinent point you made because in corporate world I see you work from Monday to Friday and Saturday I end up seeing a lot of professionals sleeping literally through the day. They wake up like pretty late in the afternoon and evening and the whole rhythm of their body cycle goes for a toss
True,
and then they get up and they're like in front of the TV. Many of my own friends I see this as a pattern and seldom they come out and meet friends or have this nice cup of conversations,
true,
just being out and open and listening to other person's stories, perspectives, experiences. And I think it's so important to have that connect and also getting into that discipline, whether it's Monday or Sunday, it's the same waking time. You can relax, but getting that waking time and not stretching yourself extra sleep because it's a Saturday, Sunday, and small things which make a huge difference for your self care.
true.
I'm so tempted to ask you one last question. I know your dad was your coach, but other than having daddy as your coach in your learning days and now as a professional, how important do you think is mentoring and coaching for professional success? And what are some of the tips you want to give our audiences?
Oh, so even no matter where I am today, I have a coach because the body changes with time. you know it's not necessarily that because he's my father he makes a good coach for me. The fact that he understands, he's seen me grow, he understands how the body's changing. Once you cross 40, this is how the body's going to be. I find a lot of differences. When I cross 30, I cross 35, I cross 40, I am seeing the difference constantly every time. A coach understands that. A coach is able to see and say, okay, she's had a bad day, she didn't sleep well, something's playing on her mind. So a coach will try to like cheer you up and tell you, make little jokes, get humor you, then break that mindset. Like when I say, I also have students who worked at 3 o'clock in the morning, slept 2 hours, and showed up at the pool at 5:30. Why do they come? Because they understand that, as a coach, would understand that, okay, I've had a bad day, but I show up because this coach understands me, not only as an athlete, not only as a swimmer, but as a human being, and understands me. That is what makes it so exceptional to have a coach for you. You can't like YouTube learn, you can't like do things. Someone needs to watch you and tell you this is what you're doing wrong. Because everybody thinks they're like super swimmers or super athletes, but as a coach observes and be like, okay, you know what, you're putting your hand in too wide, you're kicking too hard. So you need someone who understands what you're doing to tell you what you're doing wrong and correct you. You can't be self-taught uh, in any profession. You always, like, we have mentors, you know someone who watches you, guides you, and tells you this is what it is. Therefore, having a coach
Right.
is very important for growth and success. You cannot do things
I
alone.
think that's a good ingredient for because many people hesitate. Because in fact, many years ago, of course, now, I think almost a decade ago, when one of the leaders asked badly that you got me a coach. And I had to say, oh, no, no, no. We want you to perform even better. That's why we're getting a coach. Because I think earlier in the days, I don't know how much has changed now, but having a coach earlier was like, you're weak, you're bad, you're pathetic, you're a poor performer, and you need a coach. But today I see the trend changing. Having a coach has become like a style statement of
I know.
prosperity and success and growth. But I'm glad,
Yeah.
you brought this points and bringing it to us. Really,
another
thank you
another
so much,
form of
Sucheta, for taking time on a Saturday. Yeah,
no,
yeah, go
Vanita,
ahead.
I was saying that's another form of what people would call success. I have a personal trainer, I have a personal coach. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah,
again
yeah, yeah.
defines success for them. So it's a very personal thing. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that goes without judging anyone, you're right. But thank you so much on a Saturday to take time and give us your life lessons about swimming. So I think for all the
thank
audience who are
you.
listening, Sucheta's going to start her swimming coaching classes from Monday. If you're in Bangalore, then I think you should check her Instagram and see how you can learn from the best. And my team, I think it's open for us also to connect with Sucheta and see how well she
Of
lives. Yeah.
course,
So thanks
come,
so
come,
much.
come, come.
Thanks so much once
Yeah, let's
again
do
and
this
have a
together.
lovely
Yes.
day. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you so
sure.
much, team. Really
Yeah,
lovely meeting you
not
all,
at
and
all.
I'll
A
see you at the
pleasure.
pool.
Yeah,
Okay?
Thank you so much,
absolutely.
Cheta.
You'll have
Take
a
care.
nice day.
You too.
Absolutely.
Ta-ta.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. You can be stop recording.